currently working on a video looking at magician and escapologist Harry Houdini, but I'm not looking at his career as a showman, but at his role as a debunker and a crusader against the fake paranormal. I will be concentrating on his book, Magician Among the Spirits, for that video. But what often happens when doing a research deep dive, other events and subjects are unearthed, which can warrant more attention. This video is kind of a Houdini case file and follows his attempt to debunk one of the most controversial and culturally significant cases of the paranormal investigation, and that is the case of the Witch of Lime Street. The Witch of Lime Street was a Boston medium, Mina Marjorie Crandon, who earned fame and notoriety in the 1920s America for her psychic abilities. Houdini's crusade against fraudulent psychics and mediums brought him into direct conflict with Crandon. I have covered the rise of spiritualism and preoccupation with life after death and the attempt to speak to spirits in the 1800s in my History of Debunking series. Spiritualism saw a revival following the First World War and the 1918 influenza epidemic. Mass bereavement incited many to seek solace in the hope of speaking to loved ones who had passed on. This renewed interest also coincided with rapid advancements in technology, electricity, radio, and the telephone, all providing potential tools to communicate with the spirit world. The revival was also fueled by interest both for and against the movement by prominent figures such as P.T. Barnum, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and Harry Houdini. Houdini in particular launched campaigns to expose fraud. This time of grief of scientific advancement and public desire for spectacle spurred on a contest by Scientific American to prove the paranormal. Mina Crandon was born in 1888 on a farm near Picton, Ontario, Canada. She married a Boston surgeon, Dr. Leroy Goddard Crandon, a Harvard Medical School professor nearly 20 years her senior. For a long time, Mina had little interest in the occult. However, her husband's growing fascination with the subject led to the couple holding private seances in their elegant Lime Street home. Her husband and associates saw a development in these seances when the table tipping phenomena occurred. Firstly, table tipping was a popular method of fakery amongst Victorian psychics. It is relatively easy to do, and there are various methods which can be used to perform the trick. What they noticed was this only happened when Mina was present. Now, this for most of us would be a red flag in itself. However, the fact it only happened when Mina was around, and the fact that a psychic had claimed a youthful spirit was trying to reach Mina, fueled the idea that Mina was a medium. The spirit would be identified as Mina's deceased brother, furthering her origin story and the source of her supposed abilities. The seances gained notoriety for their dramatic and risque nature. She used luminous powder, sometimes appeared nude. Seances included spirit rapping and table levitation, as well as visible ectoplasm. Boston's elite attended her seances, propelling her into the national spotlight as the Witch of Lime Street. As already stated, the 1920s saw a revival in spiritualism. Publications featured seances, books, journals, and papers were published. Scientific institutions sought to investigate the Lime Street occurrences. In 1922, Scientific American offered a $2,500 cash prize for proof under controlled scientific conditions of the psychic phenomena. That would be around $38,000 in today's money. A committee was formed which included Harry Houdini, who represented the skeptical and practical viewpoint. Key figures in the case: Mina Marjorie Crandon, psychic medium. Dr. Crandon, Mina's husband, claimed to completely believe in Mina's abilities. His professional status gave scientific credibility, but also suspicions of complicity in the potential faking. Harry Houdini, public debunker of fraudulent psychics. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Houdini's opposite. He advocated for the reality of supernatural phenomena. Doyle's wife professed to be a medium. Their separate beliefs eventually caused a fallout. Houdini has also been accused of using his crusade against psychics for publicity, thereby disregarding the friend's beliefs. However, in a séance in Atlantic City, it sealed the fate of the friendship between Doyle and Houdini. Doyle's wife attempted to summon the spirit of Houdini's late mother and said the spirit passed on the season's greetings. Houdini's mother was Jewish and only spoke Yiddish and a little broken English, so was highly unlikely to greet her son by saying Merry Christmas. Members of the Scientific American Committee, Bird and Carrington, were close to the Crandons and reportedly infatuated with Mina, raising questions about the validity of their involvement. Houdini became involved in the analysis of Mina's techniques when it was reported in Scientific American that she was likely to win the contest. Houdini insisted on attending the sessions when adding more stringent controls. During his seances in July and August 1924, Houdini devised and implemented a range of investigative techniques. The Bell Box seance, in what was one of the most famous sessions, Mina was basically immobilized between the committee members at the table. A locked bell box was placed on the floor. Usually when it rang, the audience took it as genuine, as proof of the paranormal spirit speaking to them in the room. Houdini, however, felt Mina's ankles sliding and flexing when reaching for the box to activate the bell mechanism herself. Houdini also observed her lifting a table with her head when it was dark. He debunked a flying megaphone by observing her using her hand and head movements when the audience were distracted. The wax fingerprint. Mina claimed her spirit could leave his fingerprint on softened dental wax during a séance. Initially accepted as a powerful evidence, the print was later found to match those of Mina's dentist. Ectoplasm. Production of ectoplasm was later to be revealed as animal liver, concealed in Mina's body and extracted using a wire. Despite proof of tampering in the séance sessions, the committee could not reach a definitive verdict in her favour. Harry Houdini was furious there was no definitive accusation of fakery, publishing his findings in exposés and pamphlets and making them the centrepiece of his sceptical stage performances. Scientific American's official conclusion, made public in February of 1925, was that Mina had failed to produce supernatural phenomena under tested conditions, but excluded fraud. The prize remained unawarded, leaving people to believe the paranormal may never be conclusively proved. After the committee's non-award, Mina continued to conduct seances and develop new phenomena. But in June 1925, a Harvard committee observed her retrieving props from her lap. The American Society for Psychical Research concluded her efforts were fraudulent. Mina died in 1939 without ever admitting to fraud. The Lime Street case generated lasting changes in both the skeptical and spiritualist communities. In the world of parapsychology and psychical research, it made a move away from physical mediumship to experimental laboratory tests of perception and psychokinesis. The Witch of Lime Street affair is a cautionary tale about hope and deception. Final, both Mina and Houdini were performers. The case failed to deliver proof of the paranormal, but altered the relationship between magic, pseudoscience, and the skeptical scrutiny that still remains in place in the search for the proof for the paranormal.